Hello again, everyone, and welcome. Mark Connolly here again with you with Joe Bellow of Structural Therapeutic Integration. How are you today, Joe?
Hey, good.
We're in Joe's office here at the Windhorse Wellness Center, and Joe's going to tell us a little bit about her specialty today, structural energetics and cranial somatics.
Yes. Actually, I have a little skull here. I can give some visual.
Okay, great.
Cranio, meaning cranium, skull, and somatic, soft tissue of the body. So what we have is an illustration here where we have the frontal bone, which is here, and that actually is going to put us into a flexion extension. It's going to help us with flexion extension with the occiput. And all these bones move. They internally rotate and externally rotate, or we're in flexion and extension.
Now, how does that affect the rest of the body? At one time, I always thought that the entire structure here was all one piece. It's obviously not. These are made of plates
no,
all
there's
throughout.
sutures here. We have 22 bones in our skull, and of course we have some 6 bones in the inner ear that I actually do not manipulate. The rest, though, we can move, however. There's some flexibility in the cranium, and these are our vault bones, and these are our facial bones. And so for an example, we have internal rotation with flexion, and in extension we're doing some external rotation.
So where the placement of the plates are on the skull has everything to do with our posture and
Correct.
I see. So how does that affect our health? What are some of the things that, if our cranial plates are out of alignment or not sitting properly, how will that affect our bodies?
Well, we can have anything from headaches to simple things like hammer toe.
Really? So that can be corrected?
Absolutely. Scoliosis in the spine, or any little functional patterns we have. Functional patterns are our daily patterns, such as if we're stuck in flexion, or if we're stuck in extension. Maybe we're watching an air show all day and we're stuck in extension. We do side bending. A lot of times if we're leaning on our consoles in our vehicle, we're doing side bending. But with the side bend, we're also torsioning or rotating our spine, because you can only go so far side bending, so the spine sort of compensates and then also goes to a torsion. So that's where you're getting our left hip rotated forward while our rotation is posterior on the right side, but our shoulders also going with that. So that's why you see some people's shoulders higher than the other and forward, and it's gonna, it's gonna compensate with that too.
Now, I've had some of your cranial somatics treatments, and it's not called a manipulation, is it? You never really have manipulated me or
well, it is manipulating, because we're manipulating the soft tissues. Mm-hmm. Unlike a chiropractor uses the term adjustment. Adjustment, okay. So I do manipulate, and there's some pretty good things that go with it. I also do some structural energetic therapy, which also includes the structural integration aspect, or those Rolfing techniques that how people view it as. And so that also can help further things along. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting concept. I love it. It's changed my life, my client's life, and
well, and I know how this is amazing. I had you work on my jaw recently, and I had a little bit of a pain on this side of my jaw, and within a matter of seconds you put your fingers in right where my jaw comes together, and you just kind of align this little piece right here with your fingers, and the pain was gone.
Right. TMJ issues are also common with that rotation, or we have our mandible joint, and up here with our temporalis muscle coming down, and a lot of times when there's distortion going on in the face, there's going to be that distortion in the body.
Now, do you find also that with the adjustments that you do, that it helps with manipulation, or I should say that you do, helps with headache pain as well?
Absolutely.
Great. And I haven't had that problem, but I have had issues where when I first came to you, I did have a shoulder that was one side, it was tipped a little bit one side, and within minutes you had me all kind of back in
Sure. And those even simple things that is left chronic can cause a frozen shoulder, as people, it's not a true joint, it's not the joint that's frozen, but it's the muscles because of the imbalance in the structure. Now the rotor cuff muscles are not working in the proper firing order, and so we got more internal rotation, which puts us in our flexion. We get that out, we work, get our muscles turned back on and back in the right place, voila.
And you've never worked on me where you've had to actually torque me or bend me or anything like that, but I think I do have this rotator cuff issue because I have a little bit of sensation
See,
here.
you're gonna have to come in and see me then for it.
Exactly, that's my plan. As soon as we get done here, I'm going to have her fix my rotator cuff. But also, Joe, I want you to tell everybody, a little bit about what they can do on a preemptive basis. What they can look for in their own physique or their look, or even the sensation of pain symptoms that they're dealing with. Generally, that they might be structurally related, and they can call you and make an appointment. And
sure, being aware of your particular posture that you're in. I mean, if you're going to be like down more or your head forward, you're going to have upper back and lower back problems, not just neck problems.
Right. Okay.
So just that head being forward brings everything back. So just that alone, being aware of your posture, maybe how you're driving, instead of doing this and your arm on the seat and all those little things, typing on the computer, jamming the occiput. I would just say general awareness of where you are.
Exactly. And I noticed one thing when you worked on me the first time, when you adjusted my C1 vertebrae, when I got back to my car, both of my mirrors were off. The side view mirror and the rear view mirror were off, and I thought to myself, well, the doors were locked. Who's been in here in my car and driving it while I was gone?
You change your structure, you got to change your life, right?
Exactly. That's a good, quick education, Joe, on cranial somatics and the effect of the placement of the plates in your skull and how they affect the rest of the body.
Sure.
It's just a wonderfully
it is. It's a great
treatment.
modality, and Dr. Dallas Hancock, who's in Tampa, that's who I train under and continuing to, so that one day I can become an instructor myself.
I love it. Tell us also now, how can we get in touch with you? Give them your website and...
it's CranioStructuralTherapy.com.
CranioStructuralTherapy.com.
Correct.
Okay, there's some great information on there that talks about cranial somatics and what you do as a specialty. So I highly recommend a visit with Joe. You will feel so great when you're done. And thanks, Joe, for being with us again today. And from the Windhorse Wellness Center and with Joe Bellow, we thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and when that, we'll just fade that out.
Okay.
So that came out good.
All right. Let me peek out here and see if my client's here yet. Oh yeah, he's in here.